All right, welcome back. It is usually Money Monday right here when you tune in to Stop the Steal TV, and we try to focus on your portfolio, all the things you need to know. You know, I have been an self-avowed investor and advocate for alternative assets like Bitcoin. I think the cryptocurrency is the most widely adopted. I think it'll continue to be. As I told my audience, as you know, the last time I bought some Bitcoin was last October of 19 at 8,000. I've been looking for 10, 15, 30. As we come into the hour today, Bitcoin over 18,000, really on a rampage. And what you need to know is, hey, this isn't the end all. There's a tremendous amount of risk, but to be successful in any market, if you're trying to empower yourself and take your investing into your own hands, you got to educate yourself. You got to make sure it's suitable for you. You got to put together a portfolio that is not concentrated. Keep a little bit in cash so that you always have a little agility, and you should be in good hands, okay? I'm not a financial advisor, but my next guest knows a heck of a lot more about the market than I do. We're joined by Graham Summers, Chief Market Strategist at Phoenix Capital Research. Graham, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
No, it's a pleasure to be here.
So, Graham, you know, my contention coming into this market, coming into this election was, it was like a 2-for-1 sale, right? Because if Donald Trump won, then we know we have 4 more years of tax cuts, loosening of regulation, and more repatriation, GDP, V-shaped recovery, and we're in really good shape. And then if Joe Biden should win, it's probably, in my view, going to be a race for the exits before the end of the year for people to lock in a lot of the Trump gains, and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. So where do you come down on how people should be? I'm telling everyone namaste, just stay calm and let's see what happens with the election. What do you think?
So a big problem people in finance have is they want psychics, and obviously no one's a psychic. You have to look at kind of the probabilities. And a lot of times the smartest thing to do is wait and let the market show you what's happening and then get involved. You know, this idea that there's these sort of superhuman investors that catch the exact bottom and they get out at the exact top. Those people don't exist. You know, we see movies like The Big Short where you've got these guys who take these lottery ticket type bets and make millions, but that's not a common thing. The smart thing for most people to do is there's tremendous uncertainty right now. Let the market really reveal where it's going to be going with this thing and then take action. There's no reason to do anything right now. And why would you? We have a contested election, you know, and because of the extremely opposite viewpoints of the candidates. I mean, this isn't like Romney and Obama, where Romney was like sort of Obama with a conservative edge. You know, this is nationalism versus pop versus
Socialism.
So tremendously different worldviews, tremendously different implications, tremendously different policy and regulatory apparatus. So really, it really makes sense to be on the sidelines. There's 3 positions. You're in, you know, you can buy, you can sell, or you can be on the sidelines. Right now, I'm urging my clients to be on the sidelines for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, I'm not a financial advisor, but, you know, that's my 30 years on Wall Street. Right. I've been a short seller for most of my career, so I love seeing things go down, as you can imagine. Right. And I think, you know, for people that took some of these gains going into the elections, if Biden is claimed or at least proclaimed the winner, I think the market's going to sell off really bad. And those people, you know, there may be some really value buying opportunities towards the end of the year as portfolio managers just lock in whatever profits are left.
Yeah, I agree. I think that my view and the one I presented to my clients in August was that if Biden should win, we should see something of a mini crash, particularly in the leaders like the tech stocks and the NASDAQ. You see this if you look at what happened starting the day after election night. We did get elements of that, but then as soon as it became kind of hairier and uncertain what the actual outcome was, things kind of held up. But I agree with you. I think that if Biden should succeed in winning the candidacy, then we'll likely see a lot of gain taking going into year end, because after all, why would you wait to take profits on a higher tax regime, which Biden has made no secret that that's what he's seeking?
Right, and that was my view that, you know, for whatever optimism everyone keeps saying, Wall Street put so much money behind Joe Biden, that's at the institutional level.
Right.
And they think that they'll have more access and they'll have more control because Joe Biden, has been bought over the years by banks and other. But at the asset level, I think most managers, like you said, we're looking at higher taxes in the next year if it's Joe Biden.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of selling towards the end of the year. And I said, a few weeks ago, they usually talk about the Santa Claus rally. And I think,
Right.
this year, the Santa Claus rally may be banned with other holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving because people, if it's Joe Biden and the Electoral College certifies it, this thing, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this thing is going to sell off bad.
I think that's really quite possible. You obviously need to watch price, and you don't just move. I mean, as a trader, you listen to your gut, but then you pick your price levels, right? The thing that I think that's sort of ludicrous is I'm seeing analysis coming out saying that if Biden wins, it's going to be great for the markets. I don't see how higher taxes, greater regulation, focusing on things like climate change and this, that, and the other, ending repatriation, ending sort of just essentially moving the country more towards what's akin to happening in Europe these days. I don't see how that's possibly a positive for the market. I see, obviously, there is a degree, which is that no matter who wins, if things start really getting nasty, the Fed's going to get involved on some level. And that's the one problem some short sellers have is that they bet against the market, and then the Fed steps in and they keep betting against the market, and they get their heads torn off. So really, there's kind of a lot of forces at nature. There's who's going to win the election. If things sell off, when does the Fed get involved? Are we going to see another stimulus thing before Trump begins his second term or leaves office? It's really a hairy situation, and I'm right there with you. I think we have a lot of uncertainty going into December 14th when we start seeing states casting their electoral college votes, and then we'll get some more clarity.
So let me take you into some uncharted territory. I'm sure you heard my intro. I was talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, to me, being the most widely adopted. I think if any of these things last, that'll be the one that lives because it's got some pretty wide adoption.
That seems likely, yes.
I've been an early adopter. I started buying Bitcoin in 2015. I was part of the founding team of Overstock.com's crypto subsidiary T0.
Okay.
So I've been following this stuff very closely, for a few years, and I've been saying that the more money we print in the magic printing press we have here, the more strength will go to assets like Bitcoin. And it looks like, Bitcoin is ahead of the market right here because it's nearly doubled in the last 2 months. Do you guys have an opinion on that?
Yeah, so I'm not a crypto expert. What you're saying makes sound sense to me, though, from a sort of macro framework. These are essentially liquidity plays. They typically respond very well to when central banks are easing conditions. If you step back from the political arena and simply look at things from a central bank policy perspective, the simplest, most straightforward thing we've learned in the last year is that any problem we see emerging in the economy, the answer is to print money. I mean, that's really what COVID showed us. Was the answer from all policymakers was, let's just print a ton of money, and some of it we're going to use to buy assets from Wall Street, and a little bit will funnel to the American people. But regardless, the only answer is print money. So Bitcoin, gold, anything that's kind of seen as a hedge on liquidity or excess liquidity will do well. That's also why I'm kind of hesitant to get really bearish on stocks if Biden wins, because my expectation is that if we get another nasty sell-off, you'll see the Fed step in and start printing a ton of money again. A little known thing that was kind of peculiar, though, was that going into the election, the Fed supposedly was running about 125 billion in QE a month. But if you look at how their balance sheet actually was performing, it wasn't expanding like that at all. It's almost like the Fed completely hit the brakes in June, July, and August. So it does raise some questions. Why was the Fed tinkering with policy going into the election? Were they hopeful that maybe they damaged Trump's chance of re-winning or seeking re-election? I don't know. But it certainly raises some questions about how independent the Fed is, I think.
No question about that. But, you know, Donald Trump didn't do himself any favors either by constantly beating the Fed chair over the head after he appointed him to be an independent body. So, look, you know the old saying, don't fight the Fed. And
don't fight the Fed, that's right.
as a lifelong short seller, I would say the fear of the Fed and organic news, a close second, are the two biggest fears to all short sellers, because the Fed decides to start pumping in money, anything could happen. All right, Graham, we got to leave it there. Thanks so much. Join us again in the coming weeks and give us some updates as we see things emerging, okay?
I look forward to it. You take care.
Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. Graham Summers, Chief Market Strategist, Phoenix Capital Research. Quick break. Back after this, news of the day.